why your affection might be harming your feline. You believe you're checking all the right boxes. You provide premium nutrition. You lavish them with cuddles. You maintain a pristine litter box. But what if I revealed that some of your most loving, everyday routines are actually inflicting silent, chronic anxiety on your cherished pet? 8 daily customs that secretly distress your cat. Welcome to Maya Range, our intimate podcast-style hub where we uncover captivating facts, touching narratives, and unexpected truths about our favorite felines. Consider this your sanctuary to learn, evolve, and transform into the ultimate cat guardian. Here is a revelation that may startle you. One of the behaviors we are unveiling today involves an action you likely perform multiple times a day, an action that feels instinctive and tender. Yet, to your cat, it may feel like a violation. Before we proceed, I need to ask a favor, not for my sake, nor for this channel, but for your cat. If you sincerely wish to comprehend what might be triggering anxiety in your furry companion, please press that like button and subscribe. This isn't about gaming the algorithm. This is about ensuring other cat enthusiasts discover this crucial knowledge. Your interaction could quite literally enhance the well-being of another person's pet. Let me pose a question. Have you ever observed your cat suddenly retreating beneath the bed without a clear cause? Or eliminating outside the litter box when nothing appears different? Maybe they've turned aggressive unexpectedly. Studies from the University of Lincoln uncovered something alarming. Somewhere between 50 and 70% of household cats exhibit symptoms of chronic stress within their domestic settings. Over half of all indoor cats are existing in a state of perpetual anxiety, and their guardians remain completely unaware. By the conclusion of this broadcast, you'll identify exactly what these 8 stress-inducing habits are and how to rectify them. You will learn to interpret your cat's nuanced cues and build an atmosphere where they genuinely flourish. Let's discuss the first habit that the majority of cat care manuals fail to identify as an issue: frequent disruptions to routine. Cats are animals of absolute habit. I am not referring to a preference for routine, like how you enjoy your morning brew at a specific hour. I am referring to a neurological necessity for predictability that is etched into their brain architecture. Investigations into the feline cerebral cortex demonstrate that cats interpret their surroundings through pattern recognition much more intensely than most other pets. Their minds are wired to chart their territory, daily agenda, and expectations with immense precision. When those established patterns are disturbed, it ignites a bona fide stress reaction. Consider what this looks like in practice. You serve their meal an hour late because you overslept. You reorganize the lounge furniture. You relocate their litter box to a spare room. These appear to be trivial tweaks from our vantage point. However, to your cat, these shifts are disastrous. Visualize if someone shifted your bed to a different room, altered your allowed eating times, and reshuffled your furniture while you were asleep. You would feel bewildered and vulnerable. That is precisely what your cat endures. The physical manifestations are devastating. Cats undergoing routine upheaval often cry out excessively, refuse food, or begin marking territory improperly, clawing at furniture they previously ignored, or worse, urinating on the floor. A friend of mine took in a tabby named Oliver, who was the picture of health and well-adjusted behavior. Then she chose to redecorate, shifting the sofa and television. Within just 3 days, Oliver contracted a urinary tract infection. The veterinary costs surpassed $800, and the doctor inquired, "Have you altered anything in your household lately?" When she restored the furniture to its initial layout, Oliver's anxiety plummeted and his urinary complications vanished. The vet clarified that chronic stress in felines can induce bladder inflammation known as feline idiopathic cystitis. The environmental tension had literally made Oliver physically sick. The remedy: gradual modification. Shift furniture one item at a time over several days. Adjust meal times by 15 minutes every few days. Regarding litter boxes, install a second box in the new spot first, taking away the old one only after steady usage for 2 weeks. Here is your golden rule. Utilize the 3-day protocol. Implement the change, then allow your cat 3 full days to acclimatize before introducing any further adjustments. Now, the second habit is going to question what you believe you know about demonstrating affection to your cat. Forced intimacy and excessive touching. You might actually be loving your cat too intensely, or more precisely, in an incompatible manner. Cats possess entirely different sensory limits compared to dogs or people. What feels comforting to you might feel suffocating or menacing to your cat. There is a scientific designation for this: petting-induced aggression. Cats possess incredibly sensitive nerve endings across their skin, and repetitive stroking creates a sensory accumulation that shifts from enjoyable to irritating. It is comparable to being tickled amusing initially, but intolerable if it persists. Cats provide incredibly understated warning signals that most owners overlook. Observe the tail. If it flicks or thrashes, that is frustration. Ears pinning back is a red flag. Pupils suddenly widening indicates a fight-or-flight state. Rippling skin along the spine signals sensory overload. Distinct body zones have varying tolerance levels. Most cats despise belly rubs even if they expose their stomach. That is a display of trust, not a request for contact. Paws are highly sensitive. The base of the tail is a volatile zone. The correct approach: employ the 3-2-5-second rule. Stroke for 3 to 5 seconds, then stop. If your cat leans in, nuzzles your hand, or closes the distance, proceed. If they remain motionless or pull away, the session is over. A subscriber revealed she had attempted to bond with her rescue cat for 6 months to no avail. The cat would endure 10 seconds of attention, then nip and flee. After understanding petting-induced aggression and applying the pause method, the dynamic transformed. Within 2 weeks, her cat actively looked for her, purred, and settled into her lap for the very first time. She didn't offer more affection. She offered respectful affection. Leave a comment below. Have you ever been nipped unexpectedly by your cat? I will personally reply with an analysis of what the warning signs likely were. But here is what is vital. Everything we have discussed thus far is merely the preamble. Because there is something you are doing right now, likely multiple times today, that is instilling genuine terror in your cat. It involves an item found in nearly every residence. And when you utilize it, your cat's stress hormones surge instantly. You might not perceive your cat's response anymore because it has become so routine. But your cat perceives it, and we need to discuss what that is and why it is more harmful than you suspect. The noises your cat cannot evade. Let's briefly recap what we've addressed. Those routine disruptions. They create turmoil in your cat's universe. That excessive attention. It crosses the threshold into overstimulation. However, identifying these cycles means you are already halfway to resolving them. Now, regarding that enigmatic object sparking fear in your cat several times daily, it is your vacuum cleaner, your food processor, your blow dryer, every single high-decibel appliance in your house. You have become so habituated to the racket that you don't even register it. But your cat, they register every single decibel. Here is a fact most people are unaware of. Cats can detect frequencies up to 65 kilohertz. Humans top out at roughly 20 kilohertz. When you switch on that vacuum, it isn't just loud to your cat. It is potentially agonizing. A study from Ohio State University tracked cortisol levels in cats subjected to standard household sounds. Cortisol is the stress chemical that saturates your body during peril. Cats subjected to typical home appliances demonstrated cortisol spikes comparable to what you would undergo during a genuinely life-threatening event. Imagine if several times a day, without notice, A noise blasted that made you feel you were in imminent danger. That is your cat's reality. Visualize this. You are vacuuming on a Saturday morning. Meanwhile, your cat has bolted to the farthest corner, jammed under the bed, pupils blown wide, heart pounding. You finish up and think nothing of it. But your cat's stress mechanism doesn't just deactivate. Elevated cortisol levels stay high for hours. Multiple times a week generates chronic anxiety. And chronic anxiety results in severe health ramifications. Cats in consistently loud settings develop urinary tract issues at higher frequencies. They become more hostile toward other pets and guardians. They develop compulsive habits like overgrooming, resulting in bald spots. Some cease eating correctly. Others quit using their litter box. A woman rescued an orange tabby named Mango. Every time she utilized her hairdryer, Mango would vanish completely, discovered hours later still shivering. It escalated. Mango began hiding preemptively. Even walking toward the restroom made him flee. She realized that in the shelter, Mango had been subjected to relentless machinery, noise industrial washers, dryers, and cleaning gear all day long. With persistence and the proper tactics, she helped Mango heal, but it required months. So what is the solution? You cannot stop using appliances. First, build sound-safe sanctuaries, spaces where your cat can withdraw with acoustic buffering. A closet filled with towels and blankets soaks up sound. A room on the opposite side of the house from where you use loud gear. Even a cardboard box in a silent nook is effective. Second, create predictable schedules. If you always vacuum on Saturday mornings, your cat learns to expect it and prepare psychologically. Random loud blasts are far more stressful than anticipated ones. Third, think about gradual desensitization. Locate vacuum sound effects online. Play them at a barely audible volume while your cat feeds or plays. Associate it with positive moments. Over the weeks, slowly raise the volume. This teaches their brain that the noise doesn't forecast peril. Fourth, use headphones for music rather than speakers. Shut the door when blow-drying your hair. Run the dishwasher at night when your cat is already asleep. And here is something scientifically supported. Synthetic feline facial pheromones like feline. These are chemical messages cats naturally emit when feeling secure. Diffusing these in your residence, particularly where your cat retreats during stress, drastically lowers anxiety. Multiple peer-reviewed studies validate their efficacy. Now, let's discuss something seemingly unconnected to noise, yet just as vital to your cat's stress levels: your home's absence of vertical territory. Here is a concept that will alter how you view your living area. You think in 2 dimensions, but your cat exists in 3. You perceive floor space. Your cat perceives floor space, mid-level space, and high space, completely distinct zones with different functions and safety tiers. This stems from evolution. Wild felines climb trees and seek elevated perches for protection from predators and for a territorial vantage point. Your domestic cat has those identical instincts encoded into their DNA. The University of California. Davis researched environmental enrichment for felines, offering vertical territory cat trees, wall shelves. Elevated lookouts decreased stress-related behaviors by up to 70% in multi-cat households. Even in single-cat homes, vertical space dramatically enhanced well-being. Without vertical options, specific issues arise. Cats attempt to scale inappropriate items, drapes, bookshelves, kitchen counters, because the drive for height is so potent. In multi-cat homes, you will observe increased hostility because cats cannot delineate separate vertical territories. Boredom is another gigantic problem. A cat without vertical enrichment lacks sufficient mental and physical engagement. This results in obesity, destructive antics, and depression. Yes, cats absolutely can succumb to depression, and a lack of environmental complexity is a leading cause. The remedy doesn't demand pricey gear. Wall-mounted shelves positioned in staggered layouts create cat highways. Routes your cat can traverse without touching the ground. A standard cat tree by a window offers both elevation and amusement. Even clearing off the top of a bookcase gives your cat essential vertical choices. For budget-conscious guardians, DIY answers work wonderfully. Robust cardboard boxes stacked and fastened. Wooden crates from craft shops mounted on walls. A clear dresser top with a plush blanket becomes prized vertical real estate. Here is the key. Your cat doesn't just want to be up high occasionally. They want the option whenever they elect. It is about control and agency. When your cat can decide, I feel exposed, I am going to move to my perch where I can survey everything. They are exercising control over their security. That agency lowers stress. The advantages are instant and palpable. Most cat owners report that within days of installing cat shelves or trees, their cat's entire disposition shifts. They are more spirited, self-assured, and at ease. Comment below and tell me, does your cat have access to high zones in your home? Or are they stuck residing in a two-dimensional world? I want to hear your experiences. Now, here is what you must grasp. And this is absolutely pivotal to your cat's daily welfare. We have discussed noises they cannot flee and spaces they cannot reach, but there is something even more foundational. Something that impacts your cat every single day, multiple times a day. It is not about what you are providing. It is about where you are placing it. And this error, this simple positioning mistake, is generating stress, health issues, and behavioral troubles that you have likely been attributing to your cat's personality when really, where you put things matters more than what you provide. Quick inquiry. Have you already recognized one of these habits in yourself? Perhaps you realized you have been shifting your cat's food bowl around or overwhelming them with unwanted hugs. Drop a comment and tell me which habit startled you most. I am reading every comment and replying personally because your anecdotes help other cat owners realize they are not alone. We are past the halfway mark now, and these next 4 stress triggers are hiding in plain sight. But they hit differently because they involve the most basic, essential components of your cat's daily existence. Here is the epiphany. The issue isn't what you are giving your cat. It is where you are putting it. The incorrect placement of essential resources. Most cat owners are aware of the N1 rule. The number of cats plus 1 equals the litter boxes required. But almost nobody discusses where those boxes should actually be located. And that is where everything collapses. Litter boxes positioned right beside food and water bowls. This seems efficient. Keep all the cat gear in one zone, correct? Incorrect. Cats are instinctively wired to segregate bathroom areas from dining areas. In the wild, contaminating your food supply with waste implies disease and death. Your cat's brain is screaming that something is fundamentally amiss, even if they cannot verbalize it. Litter boxes in high-traffic zones where people constantly walk by. Your cat is in their most defenseless posture when using the litter box. They need to feel secure, not displayed. Would you desire a bathroom with no door in the center of a bustling corridor? Neither does your cat. Here is one that startles people. Litter boxes in corners or cramped spaces with only one way in and out. Cats are prey animals, despite being predators. They require escape routes. A box tucked in a nook might seem cozy to you, but to your cat, it is a potential trap. And then there is food and water placement. Most people place them right next to each other. But research from Cornell University's College of Veterinary Medicine discovered that cats prefer their water source separated from their food by several feet, ideally in a completely different zone. This mimics natural behavior. They would hunt and feed in one location, but drink from a water source elsewhere to evade contamination. The repercussions are severe and costly. Cats who feel their litter box is in a threatening spot will simply refuse to utilize it. They will locate somewhere safer, usually your bed, your sofa, or a quiet nook. This is not spite. This is survival instinct overriding house training. Cats who feel exposed while eating or drinking reduce their intake. This results in dehydration, which subsequently triggers urinary tract complications, kidney failure, and a cascade of other health issues. An acquaintance's cat, Luna, abruptly ceased using her litter tray and began urinating on the bath mat. The veterinarian discovered no physical ailments. However, a behaviorist discovered everything was wrong with the environment. The litter box was situated in a tiny powder room with a door that would occasionally swing shut due to drafts, effectively trapping Luna inside. Once they relocated the box to an open space with unobstructed views and several exit paths, Luna resumed perfect litter box etiquette within 48 hours. So, what is the fix? Analyze your residence from your cat's vantage point. Descend to the floor and genuinely observe the sight lines. Can your cat perceive who is approaching while they are in the box? Can they flee effortlessly? Is the zone relatively silent? Here is your actionable checklist. Litter boxes ought to be in low-traffic zones, far from roaring appliances, with excellent visibility and numerous escape routes, and nowhere near their dining area. Water dishes should be in tranquil spots, separated from food by several feet and never near the toilet area. Food bowls need to be in places where your cat can dine without feeling vulnerable or cornered. Now for the sixth habit, and this one devastates me because it is so effortless to rectify. Yet countless cats suffer in its absence, the total absence of secure sanctuaries. Your cat requires the ability to vanish, not necessarily from you, but from the sensory input of the world. They require zones where they feel entirely encased, defended, and unseen. This is not a luxury. This is a foundational necessity for feline psychological health. Consider what occurs when your cat becomes frightened. Where do they retreat? Beneath the bed, inside a wardrobe, behind the sofa. They are searching for enclosure. They are seeking a spot where they cannot be ambushed from multiple sides, where they can watch the solitary entrance, where they feel protected. The issue is that most organic hiding spots in your house are either perilous or insufficient. Cats hiding under beds can become trapped in box springs. Cats hiding in closets can be accidentally locked in. Cats hiding behind heavy furniture can get wedged or hurt. Here is what the science indicates. A study conducted in the Netherlands with shelter cats discovered something extraordinary. 3 times faster, simply from possessing a box. The signals that your cat frantically requires more retreat options are omnipresent. Cats who hide in hazardous locations like washing machines, dryers, or ovens are communicating that they need safe substitutes. Cats who display sudden hostility when approached are frequently in a state of defensive fear because they lack a retreat option. Cats who appear hyperalert, perpetually scanning, never fully settling, are existing in chronic stress because they have nowhere to genuinely feel secure. The remedy is almost absurdly straightforward. Cardboard cartons. Plain cardboard boxes your cat can crawl into, feel surrounded by, and hide within. Cat experts advise at least one hiding location per room your cat inhabits. You can purchase elaborate fabric tunnels, enclosed cat pods, or purpose-built caves, but honestly, a standard cardboard box functions flawlessly. Slice a hole in the side if necessary. Place a plush towel inside. Position it in a quiet nook. Observe your cat's anxiety levels plummet. Here is the vital component. When your cat is hiding, leave them be. Do not reach in to extract them. Do not attempt to lure them out with snacks. Do not peek into their sanctuary to check on them. The entire objective is that it is a location where your cat possesses total agency and command. Violating that negates the purpose and escalates stress. A subscriber adopted a cat who spent the initial 2 weeks residing inside a cardboard box, only emerging to eat and use the litter tray when the house was silent. She was concerned. I informed her that the box was the cat's security blanket while acclimatizing to a totally new setting and to respect it. She left the cat alone, ensured the box remained accessible, and gradually introduced more boxes around the home. Within a month, the cat was self-assured, spirited, and social, yet still returned to her box whenever she required a pause. That box became her safe haven, her recharge station, her fortress. Scatter hiding spots strategically. Do not cluster them all in a single room. Offer your cat choices throughout the residence so they are never far from safety. Now, brace yourself for what is next. Because everything we have discussed, the routine upheavals, the mandatory affection, the noise, the shortage of vertical territory, the improper resource positioning, the missing hiding spots, all of that is stress your cat can at least flee from or adjust to on some level. But these final 2 habits, these are actions you are taking with the absolute best intentions. Actions you genuinely believe are benefiting your cat, yet they are actually exacerbating everything. The next habit involves something you utilize to keep your home sanitary and crisp. Something that appears obviously beneficial, but to your cat's incredibly delicate system, it is a nightmare. When cleanliness becomes cruelty. Let's perform a quick review. You now recognize that altering your cat's schedule generates neurological turmoil. That excessive stroking sparks sensory overload. That domestic clamor spikes their stress hormones. That vertical territory isn't a perk, it's a requirement. That where you situate resources matters more than what you supply, and that hiding nooks are foundational to their mental stability. But here is what I need you to grasp. These last 2 habits are the most gut-wrenching because they stem from love. You are doing these things because you cherish your cat, because you desire the best for them, and yet they are inflicting damage. Ready for number 7. Overzealous sanitation and fragranced items. Keeping your residence clean isn't bad for your cat. But cleaning too frequently or utilizing the incorrect compounds and eradicating every vestige of your cat's scent, that is a massive issue. Here is the science. Felines possess roughly 200 million olfactory receptors in their noses. Humans possess about 5 million. Your cat doesn't just smell things more acutely. They are experiencing an entirely distinct olfactory universe. What appears like a pleasing, crisp aroma to you might be overwhelmingly pungent, even agonizing to your cat. Consider the products you employ regularly. That citrus-scented scrub. Cats instinctively shun citrus because, in the wild, it frequently signals toxic flora. That lavender room mist. To your cat's delicate respiratory tract, it is an irritant. Those scented candles setting the mood. Your cat is inhaling those chemical particulates at concentrations that can induce genuine respiratory anguish. Studies on feline sensitivity to volatile organic compounds discovered that cats subjected to potent, scathed artificial fragrances exhibited increased respiratory irritation, elevated stress markers, and behavioral shifts, including shunning areas where products were applied. But here is what most people never contemplate. When you deep clean and banish every trace of scent, you are erasing your cat's territorial flags. Cats map territory through scent glands in their cheeks and paws. These invisible pheromone flags tell your cat, "This is my safe zone. This is my dwelling. One belong here." When you scour those markers away, your cat is forced to start over, perpetually remarking their domain, living in constant insecurity. The repercussions manifest in predictable ways. Improper urination is frequently a desperate bid to re-establish scent markers in a home that perpetually smells alien. Excessive scratching isn't vandalism. It is anxiety-fueled territorial marking, an obsessive face rubbing on furniture and walls. That is your cat working overtime to make their environment smell like home again. A viewer's cat developed asthma-like symptoms seemingly out of nowhere. Thousands in vet bills, numerous specialists, nobody could solve it. Then someone inquired about her cleaning regimen. She had recently discovered essential oil diffusers and was running them ceaselessly. Eucalyptus, peppermint, tea tree oil. All natural, supposedly safe. Within 1 week of eliminating the diffusers, her cat's breathing issues began ameliorating. Within a month, they were completely resolved. The natural products had been slowly poisoning her cat's respiratory system. So what is the remedy? Utilize unscented or pet-safe cleaning solutions. White vinegar diluted with water is a fantastic natural sanitizer that doesn't assault feline senses. Baking soda absorbs odors without adding fragrance. Seek out products specifically formulated as pet-safe. No harsh chemicals. No artificial perfumes. No volatile organic compounds. When you clean, ventilate adequately. Open windows, run fans. Grant your cat access to rooms that haven't been recently scrubbed so they are not trapped in a chemical cloud. Golden rule: if you can smell it strongly, it is far too potent for your cat. Your cat resides in a world of scent you can barely conceive. Respect that sensitivity. Clean moderately, not obsessively. You do not need to annihilate every trace of your cat's presence. A little cat hair, a slight lived-in odor that isn't dirty, that is home to your cat. Now, the 8th and final habit. This one is difficult to hear because it necessitates examining your own behavioral patterns. Your own emotional consistency, erratic and volatile engagement. Here is what this looks like. You ignore your cat for 3 days while stressed about your job, barely acknowledging them. Then, on Saturday, you suddenly desire to cuddle and play, and you smother them with attention for hours. Or you respond enthusiastically when your cat attempts to engage occasionally. But other times, you are too preoccupied and brush them off. To your cat, this is emotional anarchy. They cannot predict your conduct. They do not comprehend human stress, work rosters, or mood swings. What they experience is a human who is sometimes accessible and loving, and sometimes completely unavailable with no discernible pattern. The psychological term is inconsistent responsiveness, and it generates insecure attachment. Research on feline-human bonding demonstrates that cats absolutely form attachment styles similar to human children. An inconsistency in caregiver demeanor is a primary driver of anxious attachment. The behavioral indicators are heartbreaking. Cats who desperately demand attention, meowing incessantly, getting in your face. Knocking items off counters, they are not being irritating. They are anxious about whether they will receive attention if they don't force the issue. Cats who become destructive when left alone are experiencing separation anxiety rooted in unpredictable attachment. Excessive vocalization, especially at night, is frequently a sign of insecure bonding. Some cats oscillate between desperate neediness and total aloofness. They want attention, then reject it, then want it again. That is not cat quirkiness. That is mirroring the inconsistency they have experienced from you. The solution demands a genuine commitment to consistency. And consistency doesn't mean constant availability. It means predictable patterns. Establish a daily ritual for interaction. Perhaps 10 minutes of play with a wand toy every evening at 7 p.m., maybe. A brief cuddle session every morning with your coffee. The specific activity matters less than the reliability. Your cat learns every day at this time, my person engages with me. That predictability builds security. When your cat approaches you for attention, acknowledge them even if you cannot fully engage. A quick head scratch, a gentle word. It doesn't have to be long, but it needs to be something. Completely ignoring your cat's bids for connection teaches them that reaching out is unpredictable and unreliable. Maintain emotional consistency as much as possible. Yes, you have bad days. But try not to let your mood swings dramatically impact how you treat your cat. They didn't cause your work stress. They are just trying to navigate their relationship with you. I received a beautiful message from someone who implemented these changes. She had a cat who was neurotic, constantly demanding attention, knocking things over, yowling at all hours. After establishing a predictable routine 5 minutes of play, morning and evening, consistent acknowledgement when the cat sought attention, the transformation took about 3 weeks. The cat ceased the attention-seeking behaviors almost entirely. Why? Because the cat now knew when attention was coming. The anxiety of uncertainty was gone. Your cat doesn't need you available every moment. They need you predictably available at certain moments. That structure, that reliability, that is what creates a secure bond. So let's gather this all together. 8 everyday habits that have been secretly stressing your cat out. Frequent routine changes, forced interactions, and excessive petting. Loud household noises, lack of vertical space. Poor placement of essential resources, absence of safe hiding spots. Excessive cleaning with harsh products and inconsistent attention. Now you know. And knowing is the first step, but it is only the first step. The real transformation happens when you take action. When you create that predictable routine, when you respect your cat's boundaries. When you provide quiet refuges, when you install those cat shelves, when you thoughtfully place their resources, when you scatter hiding boxes throughout your home, when you switch to pet-safe cleaning products, and when you commit to consistent, predictable interaction, your cat cannot tell you in words when they are stressed, but they are telling you in behavior, in body language, in health issues. You just needed to learn their language. And now you have. If this video opened your eyes to even one habit you need to change, hit that like button so YouTube shows this to other cat owners who need it. Subscribe to Moyo Range because we are building a community of people who genuinely want to improve their cats' lives. And drop a comment telling me which habits you are going to change first. I will personally respond because your commitment to your cat's well-being matters to me. Until next time, keep those purrs coming and those stress levels low. Your cat is counting on you.